James was 42 when he sat across from me, senior partner at a law firm. His father was a lawyer, his grandfather was a lawyer. When James was 8 and said he wanted to be a teacher, his father smiled and said, "That is a lovely hobby. Nobody in his family has ever been a teacher." James became a lawyer, and for 30 years he performed the role so perfectly, so completely, that even he forgot it was a performance until his body stopped. A panic attack in a client meeting. His hands shaking, unable to speak. He sat in his car afterwards for 40 minutes. And for the first time in 30 years, he cried. Not about the panic attack, but about the teacher. Sarah got her PhD at 31. Her father had wanted a doctor in the family. She gave him a doctorate instead. She sat in her university office the day she was awarded her professorship and felt nothing. She called her father. He said, "I am so proud of you." She waited for the feeling to arrive. It did not. She called me 3 weeks later. She said, "I have everything I worked for. I do not know who I am. I do not know what I actually want. I am not sure I ever did." These are not stories about failure. These are stories about two people who succeeded so completely at becoming what someone else needed that they lost themselves entirely in the process. And the bodies are now presenting the invoice. In today's video, we are going to talk about the burnout. The burnout that was programmed in you or in somebody else you know through the word success, through somebody's dreams, through somebody's inspirations. Two specific childhood wounds that create this kind of burnout. They are masked as ambition, as drive, as the great quality of someone who works hard and delivers results. The first is what I called the inherited path. The family were a profession. Medicine, law, engineering is not a career choice, but a cultural inheritance, where the child understands early and without it ever being spoken directly that following this path is how you belong to the family, how you earn love, how you avoid being the one who let everybody down. The child in this family is not forced anything. Nobody threatens, nobody demands, but the atmosphere is unmistakable. The pride when she excels, the silence when she questions, the subtle but profound withdrawal of warmth when she reaches for something outside the expected path. The nervous system reads every signal, and it draws the only conclusion available to a child who needs to belong. This is who I must be. This is what trauma researchers call attachment based compliance. The child does not choose the path because she wants it. She chooses it because her attachment security depends on it. The nervous system encodes this at a cellular level. I am safe when I perform correctly. I am in danger when I go against. That encoding does not fade when the child grows up and gets the degree and the job. It keeps running in the solar plexus, in the drive that will not stop even when the body begs. The second wound is simpler and in some ways more devastating. The child who was praised only for results, not for who she was, for what she produced. The child who learned that the warmth in her parents' eyes appeared reliably after the grade. the win, the achievement, and was less reliably present at the other times. That child's nervous system made a direct equation. Performance equals love, excellence equals safety, and stopping, even for a moment, equals the risk of losing both. Neither of these children was unloved. That is what makes this wound so difficult to name. They were loved, but the love had a shape, and the shape was achievement and success, and the child molded itself. Her whole identity, his whole identity, the whole nervous system around the shape. What this burnout looks like in the adult body. Let me describe what this burnout looks like in the body and in the life, because it has a very specific signature, different from other burnout types. And recognizing your own symptoms is the beginning of understanding what you are actually carrying. The achievement that brings nothing. You reach the goal. You get the promotion, the degree, the recognition. The satisfaction lasts hours, sometimes less. Then the next goal appears. The finish line keeps moving. Not because you are greedy, but because achievement was never the actual goal. The goal was the feeling of being enough, and achievement has never delivered it. Because the wound is not in the achievement, it is in the belief that underlines the need for it. The body that will not stop. You push through illness, you answer emails when you should be sleeping, you feel really that you are so productive. Rest does not feel like rest. It feels like falling behind, like losing something, like a risk you cannot quite afford to take. What it also contains is the very wounded masculine energy. This is the solar plexus tells us about. So the belly area, your energy center of will, drive, and personal power, has been running permanently in one direction forward, doing, achieving. The feminine energy, receiving, softening, resting, just being and existing, has been almost entirely shut down. The result is a person who can produce extraordinary things and cannot sit in a garden for 20 minutes without feeling the pull to do something. The relationships that pay the price. The partner who feels like they come second to the work. The children who have a parent who is physically present and emotionally elsewhere. Because everything that is left over after the performance is not very much. The friendships that thinned out because you were always too busy. And then one day you looked up and realized you were also too busy to notice they had gone. The burnout is the body finally being heard. So let's talk about the solar plexus and the balance and imbalance between masculine and feminine energy. In the success driven burnout person, the center has been running in one direction forward, doing, achieving since childhood. The masculine energy locked permanently in this one position. The result in the body chronic tension just below the rib cage, digestive disruption, a sense of always being braced, always ready, always on. The feminine energy of receiving, softening, and allowing completely absent. Shut down so early and so completely that accessing it feels unsafe, like losing control. When I work with clients carrying this pattern, I ask them to place their hand on the solar plexus and simply notice. Most of them report the same thing a tightness that they had stopped registering, a held quality, like something bracing against something else. That bracing is the cellular memory of the child who learned that this center This engine of drive and will must never switch off. I want you to imagine yourself this little child, this little boy or a girl who had massive ambition, who had dreams, but it came from a completely different place, from curiosity and genuine desire rather than from the fear of not being enough. And now this child is you, is a different version of yourself, the version that actually is doing what she wants to do, what she always desired to do. So she can sit in a garden on a Sunday afternoon and feel nothing but the garden. The solar plexus is open, receiving as freely as it gives. This person, this new you, this version of you that exists there has got boundaries. Not because this person you read a book about boundaries, but because your nervous system finally knows that this difference between what is yours to carry and what is not. Your body is not fighting anymore. The rest is actual rest. You have chosen the path not because a tradition required it, but because something in you really wanted it. You felt this is for you. And if something you chose is not for you, you would know it. You know this deep, deep feeling inside yourself because you know yourself so well. So the wound that kept you performing has healed. And what is left, what has always been underneath the performance, is someone extraordinary who was always enough before the first achievement. Imagine this person and feel how it looks like to be her or him. That version is not a fantasy. This version is actually of you existing underneath the programming. The child who wanted to be an architect, a teacher, a chef, because he was told he could not. The woman who had other dreams before she learned that those dreams were inconvenient for somebody else. She is still there. She has been there the whole time. Underneath everything, you build on top of her to survive. That traumatized version of you achieved everything. The healed version of you will finally be able to enjoy it. What actually reaches this and where to begin? So, how does the healing actually happen? Not through understanding. My clients understood the patterns completely. Understanding is necessary, but it's not sufficient. The wound is not stored where understanding lives. It is stored in the body, in the solar plexus, in the cellular and emotional memory of the child who made the decision, silently, without words, that his worth lived in what he produced. Healing happens at that level through somatic work, body based practices that speak directly to the nervous system and sense of safety and worth. Through hypnotherapy that reaches the subconscious programming running beneath subconscious awareness, through connecting to your nervous system, through connecting to energy of your body and your inner child, through guided meditations specifically that are focusing on the solar plexus. And this place is the place that needs to start to soften something that has been locked for a very, very long time. If you are the person I described today, if somewhere in this video you recognized yourself through my client, or the child who wanted to be this architect, a teacher, and became somebody else because that was the right thing to do, you build something extraordinary to survive. You don't have to keep surviving it. The version of you that exists beyond the burnout is waiting. And you deserve to meet yourself. I have prepared the free nervous system pattern quiz in a description box that will take 3 minutes to recognize whether you carry the burnout pattern or something else. It will show you which pattern is more active in your body and point you towards the meditation, the audio built specifically to reach the solar plexus wound underneath the drive. Take it. The teacher is still there waiting for you.